Hi, Chef Matt here. Today I want to share an incredible recipe with you, our sweet Thai chili glazed Chilean sea bass. First we're going to start with the glaze. So we're going to mix together our hoisin sauce. We've got about a half a cup of hoisin, about a quarter cup of sweet Thai chili sauce. And this is where the sweet comes. So the hoisin is a little sweet, it's a little savory. Sweet Thai chili. We have a little bit of Kadoya sesame oil. That's my favorite brand. It's a really nice, beautiful, toasted sesame oil. As you see, you don't need a lot to really get that beautiful perfume. We've got 2 teaspoons of fish sauce, some granulated garlic, some sambal chili sauce. This is adds a little bit of spice, but not too much. We've got some fresh squeezed lime juice, and as you know, I'm always about fresh squeezed juices and citrus. And then just a little bit of chopped cilantro. So we just want to mix all these ingredients together, and again, this is going to be our glaze for the fish. So I'll show you when we're outside. We're going to grill that fish, and then about maybe a little less than halfway through, we're going to flip it, and then we're going to start to glaze with this Thai chili and hoisin glaze. So that's pretty much good to go. We'll put that to the side. Next we're going to make our cucumber salad and then put that in the refrigerator before we start grilling. So we have 1 English cucumber here. We've seeded it. I've used the mandolin to cut them about 1/8 of an inch, kind of on a slight bias and little half moons there. We've got 1 small red pepper that we've julienned. About a half a cup of julienne carrots. And then we have our cilantro leaves and some very finely chopped green onions, okay? And then some sesame seeds that we've just toasted a little bit, okay? So first we're going to mix this, put in our cucumbers, our red peppers, our carrots. As you can see, you know, we've got a lot of crunch here, some beautiful, beautiful texture, beautiful flavor. Our cilantro and scallions. And then those toasted sesame seeds. And when you toast sesame seeds, when you toast anything basically, what you're doing is you're heating the oil and you're bringing out the flavor. So we're going to toss that together. And then we're going to get our dressing. So it's a very, very simple dressing. This can be made a couple hours ahead of time. It'll really keep its crunch. And then we're going to start our dressing. So the dressing, very, very simply, is 3 tablespoons of unseasoned rice vinegar, a teaspoon of fresh squeezed lime juice. We have a few teaspoons of sugar, a teaspoon of kosher salt. So we're going to add that in. And we're basically just going to mix this until all the sugar and the salt is dissolved. And then we have about a quarter of a teaspoon again of that Kadoya sesame oil. So that'll go in. Again, we just want to, in a circular motion, just kind of push that back and forth until it is fully dissolved into those liquids. That's why I like using these glass bowls. You want to make sure that all of the sugar and the salt have been dissolved, and then you will just add that to the cucumbers. So again, the salt is going to start to bring out the liquid from the cucumbers, which is fine. It adds a little bit more sauce to the whole cucumber salad. And we just want to give that a really good toss before we put it in the refrigerator. Again, this can be made a couple hours ahead of time and really marinate. But you'll start to smell all that beautiful sesame oil, the toasted sesame seeds really start to get fragrant. And this is just a really nice backdrop. And as you can see, gorgeous colors and flavors to the Chilean sea bass. So there we go. I'm going to put that in the refrigerator and then we'll get going on our fish. So now we're going to get our fish ready for the grill. So we have some beautiful, about 7 to 8 ounce pieces of Chilean sea bass. Anytime I'm cooking fish on the grill, I like to keep the skin on. It helps to keep the fish together on the grill. But sometimes what will happen is the fish will curl. So on the skin side, what I've done is just taking a very sharp knife and just made 3 small score marks on the skin side of the fish, okay? So we're gonna start with the skin side. We're gonna add a nice, generous sprinkling of kosher salt. And again, by adding those little slits, it'll help to get some of that salt and seasoning into the backside of the fish. We're gonna turn it over. And once again, just a very nice, even sprinkling. What I like to say is we're sprinkling this like snow, okay? All the pieces here. And then one of the things I like to do, you can brush the grill with a little bit of oil, but what I find works really well is just a little bit of non-stick spray. Again, just a really easy coat of that on the fish, and it won't stick on the grill, and you'll get beautiful grill marks every time. Let's hit the grill. As you know, I love to add just a few chunks of wood to give a little bit of extra nice smoke flavor. So we're gonna start, we have a medium hot grill here, and we're gonna start by putting our sea bass on like a 45-degree angle to the grates. That'll give us some nice grill marks here. We're gonna cook for about 2 minutes. So after about 2 minutes, we'll take a look. We're gonna wanna just turn these 45 degrees, let them go another 2 minutes. I like to use tongs, but you can also use a spatula here. So we'll let it go about 2 minutes, and then we'll turn over and start to put on the glaze. So at this point, I'm going to switch to my spatula here because I just want to make sure that nothing falls apart. The skin on here will help it to keep it together, but nevertheless. So I'm going to turn them over. And here's where we're going to add a liberal amount of this glaze, okay? Kind of hit those thick spots, and be liberal with this because it's going to start to caramelize, and so it's a little sweet right now, but again, as it caramelizes, actually some of that sweetness is going to go away. Hit those thick sides, brush them really well, and then we're going to let it go for about another 2 minutes. Beautiful. Cover it up. So after a couple minutes of putting on the glaze, now we're going to do, it's probably about 60% of the way there. We're actually going to, with the spatula, we're going to turn this back over because we want to get a really nice char and caramelize that glaze. And you have to be very careful. We just want to get a good caramelization. You don't need to add any more glaze to the top because that glaze is actually pretty strong, okay? And we have just the salt that's fine there. So after about 2 minutes here, now let's check the sea bass. So this whole time I've been on about medium high heat, okay? We don't want to create any flare-ups in here. So we'll just let it cook with the lid open. I just want to give it a watch. Now I've got pretty good asbestos hands here, but so be careful because the fish is hot. At this point it shouldn't stick, but we should start to see some good caramelization here. But do be careful because that glaze, because there is some sugar in there, as it caramelizes it gets very hot. So we just want to reapply one more thin stroke of the glaze here, and then we'll just close it and let it finish for about another minute just to give a little bit of bake and caramelization to that last layer. Because every time we put a little layer of this glaze on, we want to let it caramelize. We don't want to just have this sauce raw or this glaze raw on the fish. So we'll close it for about a minute. We'll be good to go and plate up. We should be ready to go. It's cooked through. We've got a really nice baked caramelized look here. These are looking absolutely gorgeous. And again, that skin really helps to keep the fish intact so it doesn't fall apart here. See how beautiful that looks? That'll go just really nicely with the cucumber salad. So now it's time to plate up. I pulled the cucumber salad out of the refrigerator, and Gonna give it a nice little toss to reintroduce all of those ingredients to the dressing. And then kind of right down the center, I like big platters for things like this. We can add a little bit of the juice because the juice is really, really wonderful with the glaze there. Kind of spread that out there. You can take some of that extra juice and put it over the top. We can even save a little bit of the juice for the end. And then we'll add our fish here. This is really nice. You can serve this just with some really simple, plain, steamed jasmine rice. What I love about Chilean sea bass is it's both delicate and rich at the same time. So it's got a good amount of fat in it. So we can actually take a little bit of this extra juice, which has some really nice acidity, sprinkle over the top there, and then we'll just kind of finish and garnish with some, I love just cilantro leaves, I think is really pretty and appropriate for this. Just kind of drizzling some freshly picked cilantro leaves. Really pretty. And again, I would just serve this with some jasmine rice, maybe a little sesame oil and some scallions. But what an amazing dish to pair with our Trocken Riesling for August Wine of the Month. Cheers.